Alright, hi guys, welcome back. So once again, my name is Kuhn, and right now I just want to kind of go through and show the spreadsheet. We alluded to it in the last video, but here I just kind of wanted to go through and walk through the spreadsheet. It is available to you if you'd like it. Some people will have a use for it, some people will not. I'll go ahead and say up front, it is manually it's manually inputted as far as information goes. I try to make it as automated as possible, but it's not completely automatically populated. So it's not, it doesn't pull from all the things and automatically populate. I go through and I update this once a week. This revision that we're looking at is revision 55. So we've been doing this for at least 55 weeks now. And I'll kind of go through and elaborate more on that later. But I just want to kind of, if you're using the spreadsheet, give you a little bit of information of how to fill it out, or what's its usage and etc. there. So first things first, let's go to the settings. My settings for all the things are on the first tab. We talked about it a little bit in the last video, but I just want to go through and kind of give a little bit of a screenshot of each tab. So we have general here, we have unobtainables there, filters down here. Furthermore, more unobtainable information, more information on the unobtainable tab. And again, if you ever want to stop by a stream or leave a comment in the YouTube videos kind of asking, why do I track this, why do I not track that, I'm more than happy to answer. But I always kind of leave that open for the community to question why and how and whatnot. I figure it makes the reasoning stronger. So that being said, that is the first tab. The next tab is probably one of the more exciting ones, in the sense that it is a Dungeons and Raids. So whenever I first started collecting everything and all the things, I started in a subcategory of it called Dungeons and Raids, where I would go through, and this tracks your mounts, your pets, your achievements, your transmogs, of course, and kind of everything that's attainable within these dungeons. So the way this reads is that this number here tells me how many of this number I have. And this number, the bold white number, is the total available items. So the way this reads is that in classic Dungeons Raids, there's a total of 679 items available for the DK to be able to own. So whether, again, it's the mount, the pets, the transmogs, it's all there. So out of that 679, I have 659. So we're missing about 20. The percentage breakdown from that is 97.1. We'll say 97 percentages just so I don't bite my tongue. But the way it reads is we have all of our classes here. So you have Death Knight, Warrior, etc., etc., all the way down to the Mage. Likewise, we have all of our expansions across the top. So you have Classic, Burning Crusade, Wrath, all the way to BFA. So the way it reads is going through and looking this way. In the entirety of the game of Dungeons and Raids, the DK has 90.1% of everything available. Similarly, if we look at Classic, we can say that with all of our classes, we have 97.2% of everything in Dungeons and Raids regarding Classic, so across all 12 classes. So that's kind of how this reads for the most part. And again, if there's further questions, you're more than welcome to ask. That's why I do this. But if the key number in all this is, if we look across the bottom, we know we have 97.2% for Classic, all the way across as we get to 33.3% for BFA. However, collectively speaking, across all expansions, across all 12 classes, we're at 87.1% of everything available. Now there is some, whenever we go through and we look at this, there are items that kind of cross over, like say for example a cloak. If I get a cloak in a dungeon, each one of these characters has a point that goes up, because each character can kind of use the cloak. So similarly with dungeon swords, there's more than one class that benefits from it. Shields, your warrior, your paladin, and your shaman would probably get a point up if you picked up a new shield. So that's that. Now if we look at this as a whole, this whole Dungeons and Raids is simply a subcategory in all the things. And all we do here is take this concept that we have in Dungeons and Raids, and we carry it over to all the things. So we have now outdoor zones, we have world drops, group finder, achievements, Azurite. I won't read through all of it, but as you can see, there's a lot of stuff within Warcraft. And that's kind of why I do this challenge. One, because, you know, personally, I just like to collect it all. But two, it goes through and it just shows how massive Warcraft is. How many things there are to do in the game, how many things there are to collect within the game. It just shows another side of Warcraft that I think could also be fun, in addition to, you know, the most recent content. So that's kind of why I wanted to go through and do this. And, you know, if someone wanted to use the spreadsheet, you're more than welcome to. Again, I do this once a week. This being update all the numbers. You do have to, unfortunately, you do have to do it manually. That's, I think it's like a labor of love, I guess is what you would want to call it. But I do update it once a week. So you can kind of see in this next tab where we started out. We started out last year, early October. We had 50, well, I should probably go over the top here. Let's do it this way. Initially, whenever we started doing this, this was the Dungeons Raids. I was only monitoring it with Dungeons and Raids. Next, later on, we started pulling all the things. After that, we started pulling, you know, all of the gold across all the servers. So this is how it more or less reads. We have the date here. We have the number of items that we have. Again, this category under Dungeons and Raids. And then we have this percentage. The percentage is kind of important. I'll get to that here in a second. But, and same thing over here. We have date, number of items. The differences that you see here, so these 4 here, maybe 5, I guess, are from week to week. So we're doing this in a means of seeing what is our improvement from a week to week. Some people within the community, they only do this once per month. Other people, they do it bi-weekly. I think someone might be trying to do it daily. To me, I found the happy medium for me is once per week. I feel like it does help people go through, and those who also want to, you know, keep track of the sheet and keep track of their items. It helps them as far as, you know, just having a consistency there. So there's more than one way to use this, but I at least wanted to kind of throw that out there a little bit. So going back to what we were talking about earlier, we started in early October of last year, where we had 53,000 items from Dungeons and Raids, which made about 51%, give or take. Over the past year, we've gone through and we've kept up with this a pretty good bit. We had some happenings last month, so I won't get into that, but kind of what the first video we have on YouTube is talking about. However, we're up to 117,000 now, so you can kind of see how we've progressed. And I think, you know, this spreadsheet has helped me quite a bit in going through and being able to one, keep track of my progress, but also it helps me hone in on where I need to improve. So again, we're up to 5.7 million gold. We've kind of increased a little bit. You can see where we've had a good bit of gold. We spent a good bit of gold. So, you know, stuff we've bought off the auction house and everything like that. But it just kind of goes through and keeps track of where we've been. The way I go through and I use it on the second tab is like, say for example, if we're looking at soloable content, so more or less anything from classic to WoD, I can kind of look at this and hone in on like the bright yellow and say, okay, I know for Cataclysm, I should probably do Cataclysm content with the Hunter, the Shaman, and all the way down to the Mage, more so over the Death Knight. So this is what gives me a little bit of direction and where I need to go and what I need to do and focus on. And then, you know, I go through and via this Excel sheet, I go into the add-on in-game, all the things in-game, and then at that point kind of break down what is it in Cataclysm that can help me up my percentage a little bit. This week we happen to be focusing on Zulaman and maybe ZG as well, maybe some of the other dungeons, but this is what kind of helps give the drive a little bit. Furthermore, we'll probably see a good bit of PvP content because Buried and Hold has a massive hole where we don't have a lot of the PvP tier gear. So this is kind of, like I said, a little bit of the driving force. And, you know, if I miss anything, if there's something you guys would like me to kind of go over, I'm, again, more than happy to do so. But this is the Professions tab. I just go through it. Helps me keep track. Whenever we start working on professions in the future, this just kind of helps me keep track of this as it is right now and which professions we want to move on later. The weekly thing, this helps me keep track of the BFA, BFA mythics. So, you know, if I wanted to go through and try to knock out some of the mythic content, and I've done it on, you know, I've done 4 dungeons on my Death Knight, another 4 on the Warrior, the Paladin, I can at least, if they're not all the same, more or less go in and keep track of it that way. And it just helps give me an overview as far as like what I need to do for the day. Hunting you might find useful, you may not. I go through and I hunt down rares on RP servers, and this just allows me to kind of show where I don't want to double up. So say for example with Maelstrom, Lightning Hoof, and Venture Company, I don't want to take say a second character and also farm on Timeless Isle, because like if I run my Shaman through Timeless Isle and then I grab another second character and I run through Timeless Isle, I'm kind of like robbing for myself. I'd want to, you know, because they're shared realms, I'd want to put them in a different location and farm that on a periodic basis. So this you guys might find helpful, hopefully so. Attunement, I'll kind of go through quickly and walk through this, but the attunement, it helps me keep track of all of my progress with the quests in Blackrock Foundry, Hellfire Citadel, later on Emerald Nightmare, the rest of the raids as well. But the way it reads is like, say for example, if it's a green background, that means I've done the quest. That allows me to skip to the end. So more or less, I'm using attunement loosely here, but it just allows me to skip to the last boss and kill the last boss for the sake of the mount. If it's red, that means I haven't started the quest. If it's orange, that means I'm currently in progression, or you know, I'm working on it. So the numbers kind of break that down. So if I'm 1 in 4, that just means I have 3 more weeks to go before I can complete that quest. That allows me to skip to the end. If the numbers are red, that means I've already done it for the week. So you notice that we have everything green, there's red numbers. I've already went through, in fact today, and ran through and see if Blackhand could drop his mount. He didn't happen to drop it this week, so we'll probably go through with the Hunter later on, maybe tomorrow, and go through. So this just gives me that ability to say, okay, who do I have that can do it, and who needs to run it? It's almost the exact same in Hellfire, except Hellfire, there's 2 quests to get attuned to the end of the instance. The first quest allows you to skip the completion of the first quest allows you to skip the first 6 bosses, and then the completion of the second quest allows you to skip to Manaroth. So the orange here just means we're still on the first quest, and then the yellow means we're currently working on the this second quest. The tier 3, this is a work in progress. It's a little bit of a tracking of what I have as far as tier 3 from the Black Market Auction House. So that's, you know, that's there. It's not much. we're kind of starting up and getting there. So yeah, hopefully sooner than later there's more green than red, but for now we're starting out. Later on this will grow into, you know, the trading card mounts, pets, and toys, and you know, other things like that. We have managed to pick up the flag of ownership. This goes through and it lists the cost of all this stuff. So you know, there's a little bit of information here to be held, and hopefully, you know, if someone finds this useful, there's something for them from that, or from this, to help them keep track of all their alts and whatnot. The PvP record. So I'll quickly go through this as well. I know we're starting to hit the upper limit of the YouTube video length here, but right now I'm in the middle of a challenge of trying to level up a character from 20 to 120 purely through Battlegrounds. And this just keeps track of the number of Battlegrounds that we've been in, the number of wins, the number of losses, the honor acquired, the marks of honor we've earned, and this just kind of goes in and provides more detail as far as, like, you know, how much, you know, which Battlegrounds did we participate in? Did we win or lose that one? The amount of honor gained, the honor level, the amount of honor kills, the rewards when we did win, the character level, the spec that we went, and of course the mark of honor count. And then the what do we call it? The Battleground Breakdown is over here. There's more numbers behind my camera here, but it's more or less the same thing. It just breaks down furthermore into Twin Peaks, Silver Shard mines, and then Temple of Katmagu, if I'm saying that right, and then Deepwind Gorge. So that's there. So the next tab is the gold farming tab. So all the goblins that may be watching, welcome. These two first tabs kind of go through and track my gold farming progress as far as the gold farming challenges. I won't get into that too much here. I'll save that for another video. But that is there. If you wanted to refer to it or look at it, that's there. And then we have the current one that was going to happen this month, but because of Blizzard activity, we're going to start it in November. So we're going to start our next and our third gold farming challenge in November. And so that's what this tab is for. And then I haven't worked on the milestones yet, but this is going to be my short-term goal tab. So like whatever we want to get done for the week, or whatever we want to get done for the month, that's what this is for. So hopefully that helps a little bit there. Like I said, I don't want to make this video too long, but I did want to kind of run through and hopefully make it such that it's useful to you to a certain degree. So all that to say, you're more than welcome to have at it. I'll have a link in the description for you. But yeah, that's really about it. So the milestones, it's a continuous work in progress. The whole spreadsheet's a continuous work in progress. So there'll be improvements and there'll be changes as more and more revisions come out. We just have that continuous improvement mindset for this thing. But yeah, really that's about it. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that gives you a little bit more insight of how and why and what the usage is for. But I think that's actually about it. So with that being said, let me wrap this up. Thank you guys very much for watching. Hopefully it helps, and I will see you bright and early tomorrow. All right, guys, y'all take care.